Yeah, the first thing I usually do is I'll let the car warm up a little bit. I'll change the oil. I don't want it to warm up too much, then it'll be too hot to drain the oil out. A little bit better than nothing. Change the oil on this thing at you can't read it. November last year at 242. We're sitting at 248. I usually like to do it around every 5,000 miles. Well, before you start an oil change, make sure you got the oil filter. I could have sworn I had an extra oil filter for this thing, but I guess now I'll run up to town, Vance Auto Parts, and we'll get a filter for this thing. No big deal. Okay, I'm back. Went up to the old Vance. All they had was the crappy frame oil filter in stock. What kind of pisses me off about that is their website says the Urbana store had the man brand oil filter in stock, which is like OEM for Volkswagens. I get up there, nope, they ain't got it. I was like, well, give me a Pure later. Nope, ain't got it. So all they had was the crappy frames, but yeah, it is what it is. Then I stopped by McDonald's and got me some burgers with some cheese on it. Ain't no meatloaf between these buns. So I'll eat my McDonald's here, and now we'll get started on the oil change. Okay, oil change on a 2003 Volkswagen Jetta with the TDI, ALH engine code. Change the oil, you're going to need that for the filter. I'm pretty sure that the drain plug is a 19. Pick for the O-rings. Hammer of Hercules, put the drain plug back on. And your crappy frame oil filter. And then a floor jack so fat people can get underneath it. I've just been running this 15W40 mobile Delvac because we got it cheap. And it's not the recommended oil, but it works for us. Okay, first thing we're going to do first is take this cartridge filter lid off. I use one of these, what the hell, oil filter wrenches. And then make sure you got your drain pan underneath, because some oil will come out. Now you want to do the oil filter first, because all the old oil that's in the cartridge part, if you drain the oil first and put the plug back in, when you go to change this oil filter, all that old oil drops back down into the oil pan and you mix it with your new oil. So always change your cartridge filter first and then drain the oil pan. And that just gets as much of the old oil out as you can. And if you see when you pull the filter up, The oil goes down back down into the oil pan. Okay, after we get the old filter off, your new filter kit should come with these new O-rings. There's an O-ring here, an O-ring down there. There's your new O-rings. And a pick will make it easier taking the old ones off and putting the new ones on. Usually. There's one old one. New ones on there. One little tip with these O-rings: run your pick all the way around it, and that'll get any twist or any type of binding out of the O-ring. So then that's ready to install. There's no clean way to do it with these cars. With the pretty messy job. You can't badmouth Ram too much, because at least they tell you which side's the top. Most of them don't, so you usually put it in the wrong way. Stick that down in there. You know, some guys like to, you know, fill that up. Probably fill it up a little bit after we drain the oil pan. I'll just set this down. Set that down on top for the time being. Now your drain plug's right here. It should be, I usually use a 19mm. It kind of fits loosely. I think 3/4 doesn't fit much better. But you gotta be careful with these Volkswagens. They got the aluminum oil pans, and then that oil plug is steel. So it's real easy to strip them out. And just give her a few light taps and work it out. the oil pan ready. And the oil's hot, it's going to want to shoot way out there because it runs out smoother and it's not as thick. So just be wary of your pan placement. And well, I'll let that drain and I'll bring you back. All right, that's drained enough. It's just dripping down in there.
You let it down? I let the jack down.
Well, it'll be all right. It's pretty level. It ain't gonna. It's at the lowest part of the pan. I usually let the jack down, but I got my fountain under here. It's dripped good enough. It never drips much more anyways. You gotta be careful threading this drain plug back in. Not to cross thread it. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. Don't go too crazy because righty tighty could turn into righty loosey. And for some reason on these Volkswagens, I could never get the drain plug just to go back on by hand. I always had to use a wrench. But it's that hard bolt going into aluminum deal. And just barely snug it up. Good enough. That's after 6,000 miles. It's pretty black. I don't know how some people go 10,000 miles on their oil changes. Oil's cheap. Filters are cheap. And the more you change it, the better off you are. Most important step of oil change is don't forget to put your oil in it. So we'll do that. I'll take this back off and dump some down in there. Kind of prime the oil filter. Now these cars, they take 4 point something quarts, something like that. I just dump it and keep checking the dipstick. But fill this up. That's good enough. Ain't no big deal. Don't really have to do it that way. Spin this back on. It says on the cap 25 Newton meters. I ain't got a German torque wrench, so I just do it good and tight. good enough. We'll just add oil until we put the just dump some in, and we'll check it here in a minute. I think it's four. It might be over. It might be over 5 quarts. I can't remember. I just dump some in, let it sit, and check it. And as you can see, you can barely see some on the end, so we need a lot more. Just go for it. It'll always go down when you start it up anyways. Still need more. That's your full line right there, so it's still needing a little bit. Jug. Yeah, see now it's showing a little over full, but we'll start the car up and it should go down a little bit. We'll start the car up. Check for leaks, and then we'll recheck the oil. Look at it now, way down there. That's why I always gotta check it again initially add the oil. But that's how you do it. You know, keep checking it till it's at the full mark, and that's basically how you do an oil change on a 2003 TDI Jetta. It should be the same for 99.5 all the way up to 2003. I'll end this video here. Now, I know a lot of people, they don't change the oil because they don't like to deal with the mess of changing it, but what I usually do is I got these IBC totes. I just don't use no oil in there. And then when I fill it up, somebody will come pick it up. Some guys burn it. Burn it for fuel. It's never possible not to make a mess.